Okay, so my thing about, oh, they've discovered it's gameless hadn't happened, but it's this episode's point. Now they've figured it out. You don't have to tell us, narrator. We know. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Space Battleship Yamato. We come back from what seems to be a rather decisive battle between the Gameless fleet, well, Domel's fleet, and Yamato, with Yamato left what seems to be in ruins, but I am not yet convinced that this isn't, I don't know how to describe it, Monster of the Week situation, that the Yamato isn't going to be instantly repaired. I don't think I put it in my notes, but the first thing going through my head was literally the time the Iskandarians adjusted the Yamato's controls from a distance. And I know I had questions back then about why they didn't do it before, but so I think that's going to be on the top of my mind. I don't know why I suddenly jumped into thoughts. Of course, we have a board, and with the board comes the board changelog, where I have marked Domel, Gale, Ghetto, Barger, Cloys, and Hidern as dead. And you better believe I do have a note about how unhappy I was with how that went down. I know we're supposed to be rooting for the Yamato, it's the hero ship, it's going to save the Earth, etc., etc. I didn't like how that battle went. Regardless of if they're heroes or not, and I know you're probably looking at this right now, I'm like, well, I mean, it's just, it felt rushed. You know what, I'll just get into my notes, we'll cover it there. The subtitles say that the Yamato accepted the challenge on February 27th. My notes says it should be March 7th. That's due to two things. First, according to my timeline, they defeated the Ballin base on the 28th, so already it doesn't fit. The second is the fact that last episode saying we had 215 days left, from 2 episodes back saying 253 days left, so 38 days have passed already from when they defeated the Ballin base. Either way, not impossible for me to be wrong, so I'm just going to make a note in my timeline about it in case either it gets corrected in the future or it gets pointed out how I'm wrong. And by note in my timeline, I mean my last note, my last timeline note says March 7th / February 27th. With an episode 21 notation. So I guess I'll just be keeping 2 timelines unless there's a correction this episode. Domel could have used his transportation device in more creative ways. We know he was using that dimension we covered before to transport craft to the Yamato's area, which was fine enough as a tactical encounter. But what about transporting just a ton of explosives right on top of the Yamato? Pile up a ton of those meteor bombs and send them in point blank. Pre-fire a missile swarm and have it teleport in at full speed. I think I even mentioned targeting the Yamato itself with it. Put half of it in the field and half not. Bisect the thing. Or, transport it into a sun or something. Domel had the ultimate weapon, and he used it for fighter craft. Domel's supposed to be a genius. He won a giant battle somewhere else. But what's he doing now? Well, he's dead, but The drill that takes out the entire Domel fleet, it goes faster in reverse, despite having no clear signs of propulsion. I get that it moved backwards through the ship for its drill having gone in reverse, and maybe even benefit of the doubt that the Domel fleet is rushing towards the Yamato. That still doesn't mean that the drill should accelerate backwards any faster than it last touched the Yamato going backwards, from the aspect that it's moving backwards for tactile contact from the drill going backwards. That's all of its speed. Also, slight error. Domal says it has 30 seconds left till it explodes. 45 seconds pass, and it never detonates. It just rams the battle carrier and then explodes. Obviously, I have issue with the sequence of events that took out Domal's fleet as well. I get that the battle carrier gets destroyed by the impact, but for absolutely no reason the green carrier just runs into the explosion. No change of course or anything. If the battle carrier hadn't exploded, the green carrier would have just run into them. It makes no sense. Then to just have the explosion leapfrog from one ship to the next, I gotta say, just feels like lazy writing for defeating Domal as fast as possible. Why did Domal stop dropping bombs on the Yamato? He says at this rate they can't defeat the Yamato, but Kodai says earlier that they have no defenses left. He could have continued bombing them for as many bombs as he had left. Hell, he could have signaled back for reinforcements. We are deep in gameless territory now, so why not? Any amount of thinking time could have come up with something better than ram 'em. And my last note here. For all the people that died this episode, I feel like they should have given a couple of I've written down line rolls. That doesn't make sense. They should have given a couple of roles to people in the background of the ship to develop them ever so slightly, so that we could see them die this episode and feel something more for their loss. As it stands, it's a bunch of the same drawn faces doing repeated animations. It becomes a statistic on the fact sheet rather than an emotional moment. This could have hit harder, as I guess what I'm saying. Anyways, those are my notes. Obviously, I'm just unhappy with the way the battle went down last episode. Again, not the result of the battle, just the battle itself. So I guess there's nothing left to do but to hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Finally arrived at the Magellanic Cloud. The storm is strong. Apparently, I had my audio turned all the way up from when I was streaming earlier. Well, when I was audio editing earlier. Do you think they're trying to prepare us for disappointment? Because it feels like when the show first started, the song was, I don't know if I want to say joyous. It was energetic. We're gonna do it. Kind of had that feel to it. And while, I don't know, maybe I'm just misremembering the song. It feels like it has a more somber tone to it, at least at the beginning. Now it seems fine, but, whatever. Or the Magellanic Cloud, but the Magellanic Cloud is, I don't know, it's like a small galaxy. I don't think it's a full nebula. I don't think it's a nebula. My problem is the only knowledge I have about the lesser and greater Magellanic Clouds comes from the game Starfleet Battles, where the Andromedan invasion uses it as their home base before they invade the entire galaxy. Other than that, don't know much. I would assume it's rather large, and unless Gameless and Iskander are right on the edge of it, it can take a while. Then again, the gulf between the Milky Way and that is massive, so... I tell you, nothing makes me think that my screen is dirtier than watching Yamato. We know it's Candor can. They've done it before. Is he stressed out, or is the ship getting hot? They beamed a signal of a giant head into the ship before. This has to be a trick of Gamlis. There's more than one sun in the Magellanic Cloud, unless I'm wrong. Again, I could be wrong. I mean, we're like, what, 3 episodes from the end? Maybe this is real. Maybe this is how this season ends. Did Okita just fall asleep, or did he die? They never do mention the fact that they're next door neighbors to Gamlis. That means if it takes them exactly as much time to get back as it took them to get here, they're never going to make it. Wow, you two are not well established, but planning pretty hard. Okay, Kodai is an idiot. You'd think with all the explosions on board last episode, the dock would be real busy. I guess everyone just died or survived. It's a fake. I'm assuming actually they figured out where Gamlis is. No, okay, I was right. They figured out. Well, they might not know it's Gamlis, but...
互いにぐるぐる回りながら太陽の周りを回るというやつか。
そうなんだ。
いいじゃないか。少ないよりは多い方が。消えた。
妨害電波だろう。誘導電波が切れたのもそのせいかもしれん。
Oh, okay. I thought maybe Iskander actually did vanish. That would explain why they sent a ship and they don't communicate all the time.
とにかく攻撃してきたんだ。古代、処置は？
監視砲塔を開け。迎撃用意。迎撃用意。おい SP22
Oh, and I was right before. All the damage to the Yamato instantly repaired between episodes.
敵ミサイル4方向に分かれました。ヤマトを上下左右から包んで攻撃してくるものと思われます。全砲塔を開け。非戦闘員および偵察機退避。
Okay, not dead. Good. The slowly closing the eyes thing is typically a clear way to indicate somebody is dying.
ミサイル接近。あと1分5秒。第2副砲発射準備完了。第4降射砲群準備よし。あと45秒。全砲塔撃て。
No. Gammaless Smurfs. Kodai, you fucking idiot.
動いては危険だ。敵の攻撃目的はヤマトの耳と目を塞ぐことだったんだ。
じゃあ全訪問を開いてミサイルを粉砕したのは妨害物質を撒き散らしてヤマトを。
It really occurs to me that Yamato is in a position that either it gets completely destroyed in an episode or it's going to be fine the next episode. Star Trek Voyager rules.
貴様の持ってること言ってやろうか。イスカンダルもまた我々の敵だった。どうだ、そうだろう。
違うのか。
わからん。
That would be a hell of a twist. I don't believe it, but I mean it'd be a hell of a twist.
ミサイルの破片があるはずだ。敵を分析する。拾ってこい。無理だよ、戦闘隊長。兵器が行かれちゃってるんだ。バカ野郎。死んでも拾ってこい。
Yeah. Sorry, it's just that people are gonna die because Kodai doesn't take in information well.
Gamilasの。
真田さん、よく聞こえなかった。もう一度言ってくれ。
これはガミラスのミサイルだよ。
島。我々はイスカンダルではなく、ガミラスへ来てしまったのではないのか。
Okay, so my thing about, oh, they've discovered it's Gammaless hadn't happened, but it's this episode's point. Now they've figured it out. You don't have to tell us, narrator. We know. And of course, Gammaless knows that you're there because I shot at you. What if that was a ceiling hanging from the top? You know, when the AI told me that Tesla was the best fit for the type of character that I like, it gave him some attributes tell me that. And I'm not really seeing him.
私も通じるとは信じられませんでしたわ。デスラー総統、どうしてイスカンダルの周りに電波妨害をなさるのですか？
抗議かのスターシ
そうですとも。
抗議。あなたが
So Iskander and Gameless have a red phone.
優しい言葉を聞けないのかね。
I mean, it's a gold phone, but you know what I mean by red phone, I hope.
双子星なのに、あなた方は私どもと違って悪事がお上手。
それはないだろう、スターシア。ガミラス人は自分の幸せを追求するのに貪欲だというだけの話だよ。
とにかくあなた方は全宇宙へ侵略の手を伸ばした。違いますか？
分かってほしいな。我々の星は
I mean, they've invaded a corner of a galaxy.
だから私は全宇宙に力の限り移住先を探した。どこが悪いのかね。
あなたは地球に目をつけ、地球人を攻め滅ぼして移住しようとしました。
滅ぼして当然だろう。野蛮人だ。
科学の力は劣っていても同じ人間です。生きる権利があります。
ガミラス人にも生き抜く権利はある。
他人を滅ぼしてまでも。
そうだ。私たちガミラス人はあなた方イスカンダル人のように星の終わりの運命を受け入れて共に死んでいく。
I complained that I wasn't seeing the attributes of which the AI told me he had, and I feel like this is it.
私はヤマトが自分の力でイスカンダルへ来る限り、地球の放射能を解消する装置を渡します。
どうぞ。このデスラーが生きている限りヤマトはあなたのところへなどやりはしませんよ。ではスタート。
Dessler holds himself in a very unlikable way, but I at least understand his position of our people will live.
Shogun, いよいよあのヤマトがやってきた。私は諸君ら全軍に指令する。このガミラス本性そのものをもってヤマトの前に立ちふさがれ。
They mean artificial sun. I don't know if they mean the actual planet itself.
言うまでもなくこれが我がガミラス星である。イスカンダルと二重惑星を形成する直径16000キロの惑星だ。これが断面だ。ガミラスの本体をなす内角星。その表面は大きく分けて大陸と海である。大陸には山脈がそびえている。この山脈を柱にして、いわば天井ともいえる
shoot them with magma?
の外皮が内角星を覆っている。この外気と内角星との間の空洞は、元来地底であったものが長年の侵食によってできたものであって、我がガミラス星の構造上の特色を成している。諸君も知っているように、ガミラス星の星としての寿命はもうさして長いものではない。その表れとして、ガミラスの地底物質は急速に硫化しつつ
It's kind of ironic that we tunneled into the earth to make underground cities. Exactly the thing that they would be used to.
それが海に影響を与え、今やガミラスの海は濃硫酸の海であり、硫化水素の風によって硫酸嵐が吹く。私はこの魔の海にヤマトを沈めようと思う。宇宙戦艦ヤマトにとって最もふさわしい墓場ではないかね、諸君。
I guess it has an irony sake to it, but how are you gonna get it into the ocean?
ガミラス上空5000キロの地点に強磁性フェライトの雲によって虜にしてある。この強磁性フェライトは一切の通信を
Oh, that's why they can't tell where they're going.
ガミラスのマグネット発信機を作動させると磁石に吸い寄せられる砂鉄のようにヤマトを包んだまま運んできてくれる。あとは外気の割れ目から海上へと誘い込み、気圧変圧器で低気圧を発生させ硫酸の嵐を起こす。加えて沿岸の砲台から爆雷を見舞う。
You'd think it'd be easier to shoot it to death.
硫酸の壺へ落ちたゴキブリと同じだ。
If there's, I mean, there's many failures of Dessler. It feels like the biggest one on the offensive realm is that he keeps relying on convoluted plans. It feels like for no reason, brute force, I feel like, would have handled Yamato. If not for narrative is on Yamato's side.
何？
こちらイスカンダルのスターシア。ようやく通じましたね。ガミラスによって通信が妨害されています。もう誘導はできません。自分の力でガミラスの妨害を破ってイスカンダルへ来てください。これまでもそうであったように。そこまで来ればお分かりでしょうが、私たちは双子星の二重惑星なのです。一方がガミラス。
Why did they let them communicate at all?
そうだったのか。シマ、航海長としての君の腕は確かだ。
I guess them
さっき
knowing
の俺の態度を誤り
would entice them to continue forwards. So it wouldn't hurt the Gamblers' plan to draw them in.
もう一息だな。
ガミラスを葬らぬ限りイスカンダルへの道はない。やりなさい、古代。
I mean, also, why don't they just recall all their ships from all the multiple fronts? They're fighting wars across multiple galaxies, it looks like.
ヤマトに強力な磁力が作用中。ガミラスの方へ引っ張られていきます。畜生、船を包んでいるあの物質だ。逆噴射、逆噴射だ。早く。全艦直ちに戦闘配置に使え。
I guess it kind of reminds me of the net that we ran into early in the season that also drew them in. Granted, that was more on the invisible side. I do like the effect they're putting on the Yamato, where it looks like it's warping the entire ship as it pulls. Sorry, I just love that drummer. I mean, this plan is working exceedingly well. I gotta assume by the end of the episode, the Yamato's gonna be in the acid. And then they're gonna find their way around it somehow. Unless that shielding thing that they used back on Mars still works, and it works for acid. I guess the shielding would work for the radiation too that they clearly must be having, since
空っぽい招待の仕方をしやがるぜ、ガミラスさんよ。地底に海が開けてる。変な星だな。
I was gonna say, since they're irradiating Earth, they clearly want a radiation-thick environment. So Gambless must also be irradiated, right?
ちょっと待って、古代君。今、真田さんに組み立ててもらうから。
しょうがないな、肝心な時に。雨雲が広がっています。嵐が来ます。 修理完了。さあ、海水と大気の分析だ、アナライザー。
You'd think he'd have to go outside to do that. Because where is he analyzing? What is he analyzing?
やっぱり船は水の上だな。どうだいこの揺れ具合。いい気持ちじゃないか島。分析完了。報告します。大気は亜硫酸ガス、雨は気硫酸、海水もペーハー酸の濃硫酸。早く。ヤマトは溶けてしまう。エンジン全開。垂直上昇。
Well, that was pretty fucking instant.
第三環境が溶け落ちたぞ。上空に爆雷が来ます。
I mean, I hope they sealed that section of the hull, otherwise people are choking to death. Also, we really gotta cover how many people died last episode, because the ship has a finite number of crew.
ヤマトは袋のネズミであった。いかなる物質をも腐食させる濃硫酸の雨、風、波動、ヤマトの退路を断つ爆雷の攻撃。撃沈され濃硫酸の海に溶けるしかないのかヤマトよ。古代どうした？地球は君を待っている。人類絶滅の日まであと
I mean,
164
technically it's his first test as the captain, right?
日しかない。
It's what, like 20 days from last time? If I don't have my notes open, I don't remember things off the top of my head. Let's see. 215 days to 164 days, so yeah, it's way more than about 50 days, so I guess it explains the repairs. Not have any notes? Note givers? 50 days after the battle, yeah, okay. Sarsha didn't inform them about twin planets, she didn't intend to test Yamato, and you're asking questions? She intensely tested Yamato and mankind for such an ordeal. The note... I called them note givers for some reason. It's the editors. Why were the editors asking a question? Now at the end they choose to be interrogative? There's no conceit that they got the dates wrong, so I guess I'm just going to be keeping track of that. I don't know. I don't think I'm wrong, but then again, I never think I'm wrong when it comes to stuff I've been taking notes about. And I just was waiting for a second, but I know that there's no next time on Space Battleship Yamato. Maybe Space Battleship Yamato 2199, but we're a long ways away from that. Because, after this series ends, we have Space Battleship Yamato 2 with an equal number of episodes. Which, again, maybe the source of my confusion, why I thought this was going to be a much longer run. I probably just thought Space Battleship Yamato 2 was the same thing. And then, after that is the movies. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm glad we're still moving forward with the story, obviously, right? Again, I do not like the instant return to normalcy. But if they're explaining that they've spent 50 days repairing the ship and whatnot, then I guess fine. Do I think that amount of damage could be repaired in 50 days? No, not really. But, who am I? I don't write the show. I know they did a funeral thing at the end of last episode. 21 gun salute, firing the things off into space. I just don't think that's enough, considering that's the most deaths we've ever seen of the entire crew, the entire trip. And not for nothing, it kind of feels like they should be short on crew now. Bring the women out of cryosleep. I mean, obviously that's not something they really thought that they did. That's something Analyzer, or the person who's writing the magazine, put down as a joke back in our old magazine, but still, it's fucking insane to think about. And we lost the secondary bridge. I don't know how massive that's going to be. It's only ever come up once, otherwise it's just been a thing in the picture. Still, first contact for us, the viewer, between Iskander and Gamulus. Seems odd, but they cover the element of, oh, you never used this phone. I didn't even think it worked. It makes some sense at least. It pre-establishes that they used to be in contact but didn't. The fact that Gamlis is apparently fighting for its survival, while Iskander is waiting to die. I don't know. I just don't know how to think about it. I also apologize for the number of times I have said I don't know. I feel like it's my new filler instead of using the word all the time. Then my brain is like, say something, and my mouth is like, I don't know. So I appreciate the element of communication between Gamlis and Iskander, because obviously it's been a resting thought about, well, they're right next door, and one is opposing the other one. I mean, granted, that's still at play. Why has Gamlis not just invaded Iskander? I understand the element that both planets are dying. They're sister planets. They might have a communal or a familial relationship with one another, and that's why they're not doing anything. But one is actively opposing the other. You feel like they might invade them just to stop them. Invade them to take away the radiation nullifying device so that Earth can't get it. That way you can inhabit Earth. Either way, obviously, I'm going to have to go back over this one for the notes next time, because I went over all the elements of what's going on with Gamlis, the layout of Gamlis, and that's probably pretty good information. Maybe not so much from world building or lore anymore, considering that we know Gamlis is dying, Iskander's dying. It doesn't feel like Yamato's going to do anything with it. Actively we're trying to get away from Gamlis or defeat Gamlis to then get to Iskander and then to get out. So there wouldn't be much point in hanging around here to solve or ultimately defeat Gamlis. I guess ultimately my final point would be, why didn't Dessler just recall all the fleets? We saw the Gamlis fleet lines, and only a number of them go towards the Milky Way, and a bunch of them head in 3 other directions. And we know Domel was fighting a battle elsewhere against someone else, and he won. So presumably there are a number of Gamlis fleets out there that are just ready to go. I don't know. Maybe that's something we cover later in the later episodes or movies or shows, that there's other enemies out there worse than Gamlis that Gamlis is holding off while it intends to resettle other planets. Obviously, Gamlis is not just a victim. Again, it's making the Bimarians grind themselves up into a paste for a use never described. I don't know. There he goes again. Anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. So once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?